And welcome back to Daily Wrap. Potluck time, part of the show. We go around the table and share our favorite stories of the day. First, let's show you the Hillary clock. Yes, it's back with a vengeance. If you remember last time, Hillary Clinton went over 40,000 minutes without answering a question from the press, and then she answered a couple, almost kind of forced into it by Fox's Ed Henry, and then others joined in. She answered about questions for about 5 minutes. Well, it's been a long time since that happened, and now she is at 19,000 so minutes. I guess what's the over-under you think it's going to get to before she starts answering questions again, Brett Hirschfield?
30,000.
Okay, very good. Quickly.
That's good. I'm going to say 45,000.
45,000. You should do what they do in The Price is Right, where you go 30,001.
Right. I'm just disgusted with the whole thing.
Okay, very good. And quickly, before we get to the potluck, new poll out today, which I found fascinating. 7 in 10 Democrats say it is not a done deal that Hillary Clinton wins the Democratic nomination. 7 in 10. And only 28% say she's got it locked up and that's it. So I guess, Rick,
shows you what brilliant political prognosticators the public is.
So you're at 100% then.
Who's going to beat her? I mean, you may not like it, but who's going to beat her?
Precisely right. Okay, Brad, let's get to your potluck.
Well, it's a potluck that connects to the Clinton Foundation, and they're not going to answer any questions about that because they answer questions about nothing, but I think it's actually a nice story about the Clinton Health Access Initiative. They received a gift of between $1 and $10 million, and that's how philanthropic gifts get reported. So my guess is it's probably $1 million, because no one gives to the high end of the bracket. So probably $1 million from the Cameroon Baptist Convention's Health Board. That's an interesting gift to the health initiative from the Clintons. This is a Cameroon Baptist community that says that homosexuality is equivalent to bestiality and to incest. They believe that gay marriage will destroy the world and bring God's wrath upon us. And people are now mocking the Clintons for receiving their money. I actually think it's to both the Clintons' credit and the church's credit for having done this. Here's the thing. People can fight about ideology all they want. They can have any opinion they want about homosexuality, about same-sex marriage, about God and the lack of God in the world. In the end, the giving and the receiving of this gift is a testament to two parties' willingness to come together beyond the bounds of ideology to do one thing: help keep kids in Africa healthier. And I think that's a real, in fact, if I think about it a little bit more, I would say I wish we had people in Congress that were able to do this. Have any ideology you want. Sing it from the rooftops. But at the end of the day, just like we have evidence-based medicine, we ought to have evidence-based policy and evidence-based legislation. Are you in it so you can trumpet your ideology, or are you there so you can make a positive difference in people's lives? So while I agree with neither the Clintons nor the Cameroon Baptist Health Initiative, I actually congratulate them both for being willing to go past their ideology to do something good in the world for kids.
That was articulate. That was lucid. You really should think about getting into a whole sermon thing where you actually preach these sort of things.
I think I just did, didn't I? No, I'd much rather do this. You're a much better congregation.
Very well. Mr. Unger, the floor is yours.
Well, let's, as most people know now, in the past couple of days, Senator Ted Cruz, a candidate for the Republican nomination, was making a campaign speech, and he included the following joke. Let's show it to people.
Vice President Joe Biden. You know the nice thing? You don't need a punchline. I promise you it works. The next party you're at, just walk up to someone, say Vice President Joe Biden, and just close your mouth. They will crack up laughing.
Well, because that was virtually impossible to understand, the joke was, actually, do you remember the joke? It was...
If you walk up to somebody at a party and you say,
and
Vice President Joe Biden, people
you
will
don't
just
even
start
have to
cracking
say
up.
anything else because they'll start laughing. No punchline required. As we all know, Vice President Biden lost his son, I think it was Saturday night, and his funeral is coming up this weekend. When I saw that, I was reminded of a few things. The first was a couple of years ago, a gentleman by the name of Andrew Breitbart passed away. Young man, very conservative, had a very successful conservative publication that still goes on, although he obviously is not with it any longer. And many of my fellow liberals seem to get great pleasure out of making fun of the fact that Andrew Breitbart had passed away. And I was just thoroughly disgusted. Andrew Breitbart, whether you agreed with his politics or not, A, happened to have been a pretty good guy, and more importantly, he has a family who was in enormous pain having lost a husband and a father. And I remember writing about this and castigating those on my side of the aisle for behaving in such a brutal way. How Senator Cruz could get up there and do this just absolutely amazes me. I don't want to politicize it, but I do want to say that if he were my son, I'd be absolutely ashamed of him. It may have been part of his stump speech, but you know, you don't have to be that clever to understand. Maybe you take it out. It just was so sad.
He did apologize afterwards.
He did
correct?
apologize,
Yeah.
but I don't know how it happens in the first place.
Yeah, agreed. He's got to be smarter than that. Smartest guy in the room, but not very smart there. More Daily Wrap in a moment.